Hey, welcome back to Food According to El Roca. Hi guys, I know I haven't been posting for some time, but today we are back and I'm back with a recipe for Vetkoek, what you can also call puff or Magwinya. This recipe can be served with some savoury mince or achaar and polony, which I will be posting. I will be posting the mince recipe immediately after this one, so you can check that out. So for our ingredients, guys, we only have 3 cups of flour, 4 teaspoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of yeast, 2 cups of lukewarm water so that we can activate the yeast, some regular and vegetable oil mixed together that we're gonna use to fry the magwinya, the Vetkoek. So guys, this recipe is very simple, to the point. The main thing in this recipe is for you to make sure that you knead your dough. You knead it, and then you make sure that you let it rise to double the size so that it can be so fluffy and soft. So you can also use it for your dumpling if you like it. It's not only for magwinya, but for this time we're gonna use it for magwinya. So guys, I mix vegetable oil and some oil, but if you want to use just regular oil, you can still do that. You don't have to use vegetable oil. It's what I prefer. I prefer vegetable oil. It makes them not too oily if you use also some vegetable oil, or you can also use just the vegetable oil. So guys, we're gonna start with our recipe. We're going to add the dry ingredients together, and then from there we're gonna add the lukewarm water, the 2 cups of water, and start mixing it. So I'm gonna start with my hands already, mix it in the bowl before I set it onto the surface, to a floured surface, so that I can start kneading the dough before I let it rise. So when you mix it, guys, it's going to be a little, sticky before you start kneading it. Before you're gonna flour your surface and then set it onto the surface and start kneading. And make sure you have enough flour so that it doesn't stick to the surface. And please wash your hands when you start doing this. Please wash your hands. You don't want germs and stuff to get into your dough. So we're gonna knead the dough until it's no longer so sticky, and you can work with it, but it's still soft and a little sticky, but not sticking to your fingers. Elastic sort of kind of consistency. It must be elastic but not too sticky as it was. So you're gonna do this kneading. I think it will take you about maybe 5 to 10 minutes to knead the dough, not too long. And then now I'm going to put some oil in this bowl, just spread it around where I'm gonna put the dough so that it can rise. And you're gonna put it in a warm surface. And if it's not, because it's winter now, it might not be too hot. Maybe it's a little cold. So you can put it somewhere in the sun and cover it with also a blanket. It can also help to retain the heat so that it can rise. So you put it in your oiled bowl, cover it with some cling wrap, and make sure it's covered all the way around. No air is coming into the bowl. So use some people use a wet dishcloth to cover it, but I prefer using cling wrap. And you're gonna leave it to rise for about maybe 45 minutes to an hour before you can continue with it. So after you set it aside, this is how it's gonna look after an hour 45 minutes. It has risen, it is double in size. And then what I also do after this, now I put a little, I dust it with a little flour and then knead it again, and then I set it aside while I get my oil going. So you're gonna put your oil now in a pot. While that is happening, now I set it aside a little bit. It's gonna rise a little bit again, but you know, knead it a little bit again, and then put it aside. And when you start frying, guys, make sure that your oil is not too hot. Make sure it's not too hot, because if it's too hot, then the problem is you're gonna start frying your Vetkoek, and then it's gonna start burning immediately, and then while there's still dough inside. So to make sure that that doesn't happen, make sure that your oil is just, you know, the right temperature, even if it takes long to fry, but at least it's gonna fry all the way through. So this is how I get all those round Vetkoeks. I take it and then I squeeze it through my hand and get those round, but you must oil your hands a little bit so that it doesn't stick to your hands. And then you squeeze it and then you get those round balls and throw it, but make sure you don't burn yourself, because while you're throwing them in there, you could end up burning yourself. So be careful of that. So in this case, I reduced the oil so that it's not too hot, so that it doesn't burn immediately when it gets into the pot. So usually when this happens, if your Vetkoek is thoroughly, you know, rolled, or you have kneaded it correctly and it has risen correctly, they will just turn themselves when they are inside the pot, when they're busy frying. When it's done on the other side, it will turn and then fry on the other side. And then when they are brown, then you know it will have cooked all the way through. Brown on both sides, and then you will know it has cooked, and then you are ready to just take them out and serve. So when I take them out, usually I put them on a paper towel. I set out a paper towel so that I can, you know, rest them on those paper towels, so that the oil, you know, it can reduce a little bit of the oil, because we don't like too much oil, hey. So that's what's happening. So I hope you're gonna love this recipe, guys. And you know, you can serve this with some mince. You know, other people love it with some savoury mince. Some love it with polony and some achaar, or some, you know, snoek fish. You know, people eat Vetkoek in different ways. So you serve it how you like it. So guys, with this one, immediately after this recipe, I'm going to post the savoury mince recipe, so that maybe you can have that with the Vetkoek. So it depends on what you like, guys. And thank you so much for coming back to Food According to El Roca. And guys, I promise that I will continue posting every week. Life happened, and you know, things got so hectic and I couldn't post every single week. But I'm so happy that you came back and watched this video. And please give me feedback on how you found the recipe, because there are so many other recipes for puff Vetkoek, and I hope you're gonna love mine, and give me the feedback on how you found it. Thank you and enjoy.